righty then. Can you hear me in the back? Yeah, I think so. It sounds loud, but that's good. My name is Bob Greer. I'm your practitioner in service today, and I'm also your board president, so we'll get to that later. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world of loving partnership for the good of all. I want to welcome anyone who is visiting here for the first time. We have welcome bags in the back there, and just if you don't mind, if you're here for the first time, would you raise your hand so we can tackle you before you leave? No, I'm just kidding. But we do want to welcome anyone that's new, or even if you're just here for the first few times. Please make sure your phones are on vibrate or silent. This is a good note for me because I'm usually the one that is offending me now. One of the little projects we have going on is you'll see that rack of coats out front. We are, the last few winters, we've been putting them out for anybody that needs something a little warmer. So if you have any old coats or anything like that that are taking up space in your closet, feel free to bring them down and know that they'll find a new home, rehome. Today after service, we invite you to stay and celebrate. This is our annual, our birthday, and we're going to have cake and coffee. How weird is that? I haven't had that in a while. And we're also, and how many years is it?
45.
45 years. Wow. I was just a baby. No, that's not true either. And also we have another little project that we'll be signing these gift card or holiday cards, Christmas cards that we give out to various folks in the nursing homes around Las Cruces. So feel free to stick around and sign a card or two, and also the practitioner fair is today. Is that true? That's what it says here. So that means that any of the practitioners around would be happy to meet with you, give you short treatment, and or just have a chat. So stick around for that. In addition, our birthday, we have two other projects which this is our ongoing tithing thing. This month, the organization that we're tithing to is CASA. That's the Court-Appointed Special Advocates. There's two CASAs in town, but this is the one that has to do with helping out children and advocates of social work in social work. These guys had a stash of gift cards set aside that somebody broke into their organization and took off with. So we've been contributing to them to reclaim those, and they take the kids out and let them buy clothes and stuff. So it's a real worthy cause. So know that 10% of everything that comes through us in December will go straight to them. And it says here, we will be collecting items to go into the winter turkey baskets. There are items that are needed or listed in our newsletter, and there's also a list out on the tables. And thank you for participating as you can. And then the last announcement is that the Power of 8 group has moved to a new time. They were meeting on Wednesday night, but they've moved now to Monday at 4:30 in the sanctuary. So if you're a member of that group or want to be involved in it, show up. And I think that's all the announcements. So at this point, I'll change hats and give you a little short board report. We met in November, and the month got away from us very quickly, so I haven't had a chance to. But it was a pretty straightforward, short meeting, and grateful for that. A lot of what we're dealing with is the ongoing projects that we're hoping to accomplish in 2022. The biggest one, of course, is replacing the windows out front here, along with paint and stucco of the building and some outside repairs. I actually finally found an electrician that's going to help us remove all that dead stuff in the back. We have a bunch of paneling and stuff back there that's no longer used that hopefully we can get rid of, as well as replace that parking lot light that's like a strobe light at night. If you drive by here, it's a disco strobe light. It doesn't do any good for lighting up the parking lot, but looks pretty cool. So I found one of those, and we're gonna. I was surprised they're not even all that expensive. So, dusk to dawn LED dice. We had some brief discussions about the way we handle our cash that's left in the building during the week. We do deposits weekly, but a lot of times there's a little bit of cash that's stashed around in different places, and we're trying to figure out a little bit more responsible way of dealing with that, and I think we have. We've been talking about a board retreat, something that we've been wanting to do for a long time, a little one-day retreat, and I think that's going to be in the works. Looking forward to that. And working on our various internal documents and forms, making sure they're all up to date. My goal is also to move all of this stuff into the cloud and have it available so that we all know where to find it and where it is, and that it's safe and not stuck in a binder that big. So we'll see how that works. And then also we're working on, we found out there's a little, when we started using this door over here a little bit more, there's a low spot in the one of the pieces of sidewalk right there that's on our side of the line. And so looking to get a quote to have that evened out. If there's anyone that knows people that work with concrete or anything like that, please let me know so that I'm going to start taking some quotes on that and see if we can get that fixed. It shouldn't be that big a deal, I hope. And other than that, I think it's now time for song, silence, and a prayer.
Truth. In this moment, I am truth. Truth is this moment. Truth, truth, truth. This moment is what I am. Light. In this moment, I am light. Light is this moment. Light, light, light. This moment is what I am. Still, in this moment, I am still. Still is this moment. Still, still, still. This moment is what I am.
So just opening to this moment, right here, right now, in this perfect time, in this perfect place, recognizing the source of all, that spirit, that divine intelligence that is in and through all, in and through everything, seen and unseen, knowing that I am one with that source, that the essence of that is at the essence of me. And as I know that truth, I embrace it for myself and for each and every person on this planet, and each and every person that is here today. So grateful to be able to be here today in this beautiful, glorious Sunday morning, knowing that everything unfolds in divine right order at all times. With a heart overflowing with gratitude, I simply let go and say, and so it is. All right, for the reading today, something from the Science of Mind text in the chapter called The Power of Thought. And it's, we set our own limitations. So Ernest Holmes says, do we desire to live in a world peopled with friends who love us, surrounded by the things of beauty and pleasing? There is but one way, and this way is to, as certain as the sun is the sun that shines. Sorry, Ernest always throws me. Daily we must control all thought that denies the real, affirms the divine presence within us. I'm going to read that again. Daily we must control all thought that denies the real, affirm the divine presence within us. Then as the mist disappears before the sun, so shall adversity melt before the shining radiance of our exalted thought. The prodigal son remains a prodigal as long as he chooses to do so. When he chose to, he returned to his father's house and was greeted with outstretched hands. So shall our experience be when we return to the world which is perfect. There will be something that will turn to us. We shall behold a new heaven and a new earth, not in some far-off place, but here and now. And then he says, act as though I am, and I will be. The Spirit of truth will lead us into all good. This is the high road to fulfillment of our lives. And so it is.
Everybody's a star who can rain and chase the dust away.
Everybody wants to shine, who come out on a cloudy day.
Till the sun that loves you proud, when the system tries to bring you down.
Ever had to shine at night? Don't need darkness to do what you think is right. Ba 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 ba. Ooh. Ba 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 ba. Ooh.
Everybody is a star. I can feel it when you shine on me.
I love you for who you are, and not the one you think you need to be.
Ever catch a shining star? Ain't no stop till it's in the ground.
Everybody is a star, one big circle going round and round. Ba 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 ba. Ooh. Ba 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 ba. Shine, 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 shine. Ba 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 ba. Ooh. Ba 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 ba.
Everyone's a star. I hope you feel like a star this morning. Yes? Yeah, good. Okay. Good morning. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here, and I've missed you all. I had 2 Sundays off, first time I think ever, maybe in a long time at least. So I'm grateful for the time that I had with my family, and it's so good to be back. It's so good to see everyone. And I hope that you were all able to find reasons for gratitude over the Thanksgiving week and every day of your life. I keep wondering, what are you grateful for? And so imagine life without wonder. Imagine life without that capacity of wonder. When you hear the word wonder, what do you think of? Children. What else? Awe. Nature, curiosity. When I think of wonder, those are the words that I thought of too, awe and curiosity. And that aspect of the child reminded me of the famous line attributed to Jesus, "Except ye turn and become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven." And that's the American Standard Translation. A more updated English version is, "Unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." So we often think of that quality of wonder as being part of being childlike, that excitement and awe and curiosity that they have. And so if that is our ticket into heaven, what is that saying for us? A ticket into heaven is wonder. Ernest Holmes said in our reading, "We shall behold a new heaven and a new earth, not in some far-off place, but here and now." And again, he's basing that on a teaching from Jesus that said the kingdom of heaven is within us. And so if we're looking for that ticket to heaven, we're looking at what we have within us, and that's that quality of wonder, that childlike quality of wonder that we came into this world with. It's part of who we are naturally. And when we are in that state of wonder, I believe we have less judgment and a lot more curiosity. It's that curiosity and awe. So I've come to believe that our main job on earth is to live our truth. So once again, Mary Lynn picked the word truth for the song, and we didn't even talk. That is, in my mind, our true purpose here, is to live our truth. And we cannot live our truth totally alone. We can't live our truth totally in solitude while we're sitting on our meditation cushion at home, even though that might be the place that we discover our truth. We can't live our truth if we're just doing what's comfortable and supportive for ourselves. Again, that might be the place that we start, but we can't fully live the truth of who we are if we don't extend out a little bit. So living our truth, what does that mean? To me, living our truth is living our unity with all. And so that's why we can't do it alone. Living our truth is living the truth of our oneness. It's living the truth of our place in the whole, within that oneness. And so I imagine that world where everyone is living their truth, and in that world I see harmony and peace and love. And that harmony and peace and love is sustained by wonder, by curiosity and awe. So that might seem a little far-fetched. It might seem like a fantasy world, but as little children, we were given that gift of wonder, and we are to become as little children. Have you ever been around a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old? I know somebody in the room, Teresa, used to play with them all the time. Yeah, there's Kathleen. Those children are always saying, why? How? Why? And you answer, but why? Again, and why? Again, the wonder is in that yearning to learn more, to understand more about how the world is working, why it does what it does, how it does what it does, what makes it tick. That's part of the wonder and curiosity that children bring into the world. And I believe we come full already of wonder. And then people get tired of our questions. People get tired of answering our questions. People get tired of not knowing the answers to our questions. And sometimes I think our questions make them uncomfortable. I think back to the time that I was in a car full of grandfather, aunts, uncles, and my son decided to ask me then about the birds and the bees. And I'm not kidding, I didn't make that up. The whole car got quiet. They were waiting to see what I would say. So when we get curious and we're asking questions, it becomes a place where adults tend to start to shut us down. And I can remember also when Ben was in that stage of asking questions, and there were so many I couldn't even remember a specific one, so this is just an example. I thought, if he said, "Mommy, why is the dog wagging its tail?" Well, I started to then ask him back, "Well, Ben, why do you think the dog is wagging its tail?" And he usually had an answer. He usually would say, "Well, maybe the dog is happy." And so I thought, okay, I've found a way to move us out of this stage. We're going to move into a new stage. And so he would ask a question, and I would ask back, "Well, why do you think?" Whatever he asked. And so we kept that up for a while, and finally he said, "Mommy, no, you answer." And so I realized that it wasn't about the answer. It was about the interchange between him and I as he was asking the question and I was answering. Even though he really did already have an answer in his mind, sometimes I expounded on it a little, added a little bit more information, but he really knew the answer to most of the questions he was asking. So the point of this was more of a game where he would ask and he wanted me to answer. And that was how we were connecting, and that's how we were bonding during that stage of his growth and understanding. And so I thought about when we teach classes here, and one of the things we tell you when you take classes is you already know all the answers. You already have all the answers within you. You come into this world already knowing everything you need to know. If you've taken classes, have you heard that from us? Yeah. So then why take the class? Why ask the questions? Why wonder? I think it's part of the game of life. It's part of how we unlock and discover what our inner knowing is. It's part of the bonding between us and other people. It's part of the joy of being as we ask each other questions and find out how that person answers it, how it's expressing through them, how that part of the one is answering these questions. So this month, our focus is on the gifts that we give. And I think it's important as we think about the gifts that we have to give the world that we start by going within to that little child within and seeking out that gift of wonder. Now you may be wondering, how is this topic of the gifts that we give have anything to do with the gift of wonder, since that's usually something that happens internally? Well, where do we usually start? There we go. Inside. So you already know the answers. So we give ourselves the gift of moving into that space of childlike wonder, of being in awe. So where have you been in awe lately? Where have you experienced that sense of awe lately? I just spent about 2 weeks in Santa Barbara, California, and my brother's home looks out so he can see the ocean. He's up on a hill, but he can see the ocean, and you can see the sun rise and set on the ocean there. Because, Santa Barbara goes out east-west. So it's amazing, and I was just awestruck. I mean, I'm often awestruck by the sunsets and the sunrises here, but to see it come up and down in the ocean was just amazing. I was in awe. I was also awestruck by the diversity of plants that he grows. He has all kinds of plants, things that I've never seen before, a whole bunch of varieties of passion fruit, and those flowers are amazing. All different kinds of peppers I didn't even know existed. He wants me to contact NMSU's pepper chili place because he's totally fascinated with peppers. So I was in awe just walking around his property, seeing the diversity of plant life, seeing the beauty in the flowers. I think for some people, awe can be inspired by rocks or gems. Some people are inspired by insects and the diversity of insects that we have, or different animals. Some, it's creativity and music. What do you marvel at? What inspires awe in your life? Recently, I was doing one of my favorite meditative events, which is to sit in my living room and watch my fish swim back and forth in the tank. I've done a lot of that in the last couple of years. And I noticed myself thinking as I was doing that I wanted my fun fish to come out. Well, I have a tank full of fan-tailed guppies. They're beautiful. Their tails are orange and red and yellow, and they're about like this. They fan out and they swim back and forth. But I wanted to see one of my two plecostomus or my loche, the ones that I only have one or two of. And as I recognized myself thinking that, I thought, wait a minute, what am I doing? Just because there's more fan-tailed guppies than I can imagine in that tank doesn't lessen their beauty, doesn't lessen the fact that I am in awe of their beauty. And so why is it that I was wanting the fun fish, just the ones I have a few of, to show up? Well, last month I talked about how we as humans tend to habituate and what happens when we habituate to a situation. And so I had habituated to the fan-tailed guppies. Because I could remember when I first got them, I only had 4. That's all I started with. And it was so fun to watch those 4 swim around, and then they started to have babies. And it was fun to watch the little ones grow and get bigger and the evolution that they go through as they gain the color of their tails. They used to be my fun fish, but then as they multiplied, and I've taken buckets back to the pet store for them to sell because I can't support them all in my tank, they started to habituate in my mind and become less of an awe-inspiring thing. And so I realized that I want to be able to feel that awe, even for the mundane, even for that which I've become used to seeing, or that I see a lot of, or that I see often. I'm still in awe. And so I was thinking, awe for all. That's what I wanted to experience, awe for all that shows up in my life. Because as we habituate to things we either experience or that we see, we tend to reduce that factor of awe. We grow up. We stop being childlike. And so how does that then keep us from entering the kingdom of heaven? Well, I figure with less awe, there's less joy. With less awe, there's less gratitude. And so I then started looking at what happens between people when that habituation takes place. And I realized it's kind of an odd combination. On the one hand, when there's a decrease in curiosity and awe, because we're so comfortable or we see or experience something over and over, that joy and appreciation is decreasing. But on the other hand, when it comes to people and when we habituate, we get comfortable with sameness. We get comfortable with the same people, with people who are like us, with people from our own culture. And when someone different comes in or someone starts to do something different, instead of curiosity and awe, we move into fear and judgment. Instead of wonder, we move into fight or flight. And so I started wondering about that. Well, by now you probably know that often my talks are inspired by books that I've been reading. And recently someone encouraged me to read this book. It's called See No Stranger, a Memoir and Manifesto of Revolutionary Love by Valerie Carr. Valerie Carr is a Sikh, and my brother is a Sikh. So I was interested in seeing what she had to say. And the memoir is based on the fact that once 9/11 happened, she decided to start traveling around and interviewing Sikhs in this country as to what they were experiencing after 9/11. Sikh males, and even the women that are American Sikhs, wear turbans. And turbans were associated with Muslims, and Muslims were associated with terrorists, all of which are falsehoods when in terms of 100% across the board. And so the Sikhs started having experiences that were very difficult, and she wanted to go around and interview them, document what they were experiencing, and also try and bring into their experience some of their teaching, to revitalize that teaching to help them heal. And part of the Sikh teaching is oneness. She wanted to be able to convert the hate and fear that people had for her community and the hate and fear that was starting to well up in her for people that were perpetrating things on her community. She wanted to be able to convert that into reconciliation and into what she's calling revolutionary love. And it all started with her taking on the practice of wonder, of bringing the gift of wonder into every situation she was in, whether it was with strangers or with her family. And I want to read you her words as to how she got this started. I started a simple practice. As I move through my day and come across faces on the street or subway or on a screen, I say in my mind, sister, brother, sibling, aunt, uncle. I start to wonder about each of them as a person. When I do this, I am retraining my mind to see more and more kinds of people as part of us rather than them. I practice this with animals and parts of the earth too. I say in my mind, you are a part of me that I do not yet know. You are a part of me that I do not yet know. I practice orienting to the world with wonder, preparing myself for the possibility of connection. And I loved that line. With that possibility, wonder giving her that possibility of connection. Well, last month I suggested that we might take our practice of gratitude up a level. And this month, as we're considering the gifts that we give, I think I would like to see us consider taking those inner gifts that we have, the gifts that we bring to the world, up another level, starting with that gift of wonder. On page 217 in Science of Mind text, Ernest Holmes says this: all the Father hath is mine. Arise, O Son, and take. This taking is better accomplished through an affirmative attitude of mind than by dwelling too much on the negative. Behold, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, but this kingdom must be recognized. The recognition is a mental act. We must know that the all-powerful Spirit is ever available and ever equal to the healing of any discordant condition of body, mind, or affairs. But we must never look outside of ourselves to find this Spirit, since it is indwelling. And that is a lot like what she was putting into practice. The shift in her mind to see everyone as a relation and as someone that is a part of her that she had yet to meet. That work had to take place inside of her first before she could go out and do the work that she did in terms of creating and gathering the information for this book and this documenting of their experience. So let us consider then that this gift of wonder is something we can give everyone in our lives. We can bring into all the events in our lives. Even when we're looking at media, we can apply wonder to what it is we're seeing. And when we give the gift of wonder, we're giving them and ourselves the gift of a ticket into heaven, a gift of a slice of heaven. And it begins by practicing, and I'm going to repeat these sentences a couple times so we can get them in our mind. Here is a part of me that I don't know yet. You or he or she is a part of me that I have not yet met, that I don't know yet. And as we say that statement in our head, we allow ourselves then to move into wonder. And some of the wonder that she did was, I wonder what makes them happy. I wonder how they celebrate different events throughout their lives, what brings them joy. I wonder how this community grieves together. How is grief done in this person's life. What was their childhood like? What experiences did they have growing up? What were their favorite foods? She started wondering these kind of questions about the different people that she saw and the different people she met and the different people that impacted her community's life. Every judgmental thought that we are tempted to have or that we do have can be put into the phrase of wonder. I wonder what is causing that to happen. I wonder how that's serving that person in their life. Through wonder, we open up to their humanness. We can't see them as less than human, which is what she discovered was happening. Some communities seeing others as less than human. And when we wonder about them and the human experiences that they're having, we open to that humanness. When we really wonder about someone, genuinely wanting to get to know that other part of ourself, we listen differently. We're able to really hear their story and what's going on in their lives. Our curiosity then can shift us through wonder into actual exploration, into setting up situations and events where we get to find out the answers and connect with other people. So I thought about it this way. If you think about everything that we have in our lives that makes our lives easier today, more comfortable, safer, allows us to enjoy life, it started because somebody said, I wonder how this could be easier, safer, or more comfortable. We've allowed ourselves as humans to create greater comfort in our homes, in our buildings, in our modes of transportation through the use of wonder. So my question is, why then don't we apply this gift of wonder to creating more comfort and ease and safety between people? As we bring the gift of wonder into our relationships, we enhance our understanding and we do create more safety among us. I had to ask myself as I was thinking through this, and this book brought up so much, and I know she struggled with these same kinds of questions. Do we just have to accept that humans are a warring species that are going to continue to fight over possessions, over land, over oil, over gold? Do we believe that God just made some humans better or more worthy than others? And do we even fight over some humans, whether it's jealousies or issues that we have with our families, or we think that we should own certain humans and have them in our lives in certain ways? Do we just have to accept that that's the human condition and that's the way humans are? That if you have more brute strength, if you're a certain gender or skin color, that you get more worth than someone else. That there will always be those that have and those that have not. And that God just chooses sometimes to express as a jerk in the world. That this is just the way God made the world. That each of us needs to fend for ourselves. Do we believe this? No. Or do we really and truly believe in the oneness principle? Do we believe that God expresses in and through all of us, and therefore we can wonder, where is the God in that person, in that situation, in that event? We can genuinely wonder. And do we genuinely believe in that oneness principle so that we can say, you, he, she, they are a part of me I have not yet met. And then wonder and look for and seek out the God presence, the peace, the love that is also there. Do we believe that the kingdom of heaven is ours here to create on earth? And can we see, and are we willing to explore how having the wonder of a child and the discernment of an adult is the key to entering that kingdom? Now, I added that little phrase, the discernment of an adult. That wasn't part of the original teaching. But what I started to get at as I read her experiences and thought through this on my own is we all know that the wonder of a child can also cause them to hurt themselves. I wonder what a fire feels like. Okay? I'm curious about What happens if I stick my finger in a light socket, you know? So wonder can bring us closer to something, but discernment helps us know how close to get. And what I saw her doing in this book was a dance. Curiosity and wonder brought her closer to some people who had been harmful to her and her community. And then she would pull back a bit, stay safe, figure out what she needed to do to stay safe and keep her community safe, and then wonder again and draw close again. And it was a cycle, a movement between wonder and curiosity and drawing close and discerning when it wasn't safe at that moment. And she stepped into some situations where her gut told her, just do it, just wonder, when I was going, oh, that doesn't seem real safe. But she did it because her gut brought her into that situation. Valerie shows us through this book, and I think many of us have had these experiences, how the practice of the gift of wonder can then make room for reconciliation and healing and love to be present. She brought that into not just her community, but her personal life as well. So if we are considering the purpose of our life to live our truth, I want to read also from Ernest Holmes again to consider this. This is page 314. We seek a practical use of the truth. The Spirit is the starting point of everything. There is a presence in the universe which we call God, intelligence, law, which by the very act of its word creates an objective form which is like its word. The word becomes flesh. We are some part of this creative order, and we cannot change our nature. We have to accept the truth, and we should make use of it. We had better use it constructively than destructively, in happiness rather than in misery. They are made out of the same thing. But let us try to arrive at heaven instead of hell. Hell cools off when we think of heaven. And I think that's exactly what wonder allows us to do, what happens when we do that. So the key to stepping into heaven is practicing that childlike wonder. And as Valerie was doing that, she was able to move from I'm right and they are wrong to I wonder what caused that to happen, what was going on in their life. And as she did that, she was wondering about people who hurt her and her community. And when I say hurt, I mean actually killed members of her community. August 5th, 2012, there was a mass shooting in Gurdwara in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. And Gurdwara is a Sikh temple, be like our church, like any temple. And the experience that they had and how they moved into forgiveness, into curiosity about what caused this event, what was going on. So the second part of her book is called Tend the Wound, Love Opponents. And she takes you through 3 chapters: rage, listen, and reimagine. And she does this through that practice of wonder, where she's opening up to the reality and the knowledge and the knowingness that she is one with all of these people. And as she was doing that, she was able to cool the fires and shift the hell into a heaven as she was able to connect with some of the people and make shifts and changes in how they viewed her community. Ernest Holmes says, "The spiritual human needs no healing, but that this has not yet become revealed to the mind. What the healer does is to mentally uncover and reveal the truth of being, which is the God in and through everyone." And we've shortened that to say healing is revealing. It's revealing that truth and allowing that truth to be revealed in others. So that gift of wonder allows us to draw closer. It allows us to cool off hell and see it shift and transform into heaven. And through wonder, we can take our gifts out into the world at a higher level. And again, Valerie's words near the end of the book. She said, When I considered all of human history in one breath, our trajectory from warring peoples who killed and enslaved others to nation states that aimed missiles at one another, it seemed like we had made little progress. Perhaps what was truly new and revolutionary in the face of the planet was the notion of universal human dignity, that each person has inherent and equal worth. In every culture, in every part of the world, there have been those who have expanded the idea of us beyond family, tribe, and nation to all of humanity, insisting that even as we are primed to see the world in terms of us and them, we are also able to tap the depths of that wellspring of love within us and choose to love beyond our own kin. At the very tip of the timeline of history, we were the people that are alive right now who could imagine, I'm sorry, this really gets me, who could imagine alternatives to violence and labor for it. This too filled me with awe, she says. So, in a book where we're encouraged to see no stranger, to see no one as a stranger, where there were some terrifying and angering stories, I was also filled with hope that this idea of seeing no stranger can begin by deepening our practice of wonder, by remembering to wonder at the marvelous and amazing and beautiful things around us, even those things that are mundane now, that were common to us, that seem usual, that we see all the time, and then to bump it up a notch and bring that gift of wonder wherever I go, wherever you go, and remind yourself whenever you see anyone, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, you, they are a part of me that I do not yet know, and just allow myself to wonder. And so it is. So let's just take a moment to breathe that in, to allow ourselves to recognize that spirit of love and life, peace and harmony that does move in and through all of its creation. To allow ourselves to feel the awe and wonder of its beauty, its diversity, and its consistency. To allow us to recognize that each and every person has within them that capacity for love and wonder, curiosity and awe. And as we wonder, we make room for them to express and wonder. And so I give thanks for all that I was able to gain as I pondered this, and I hope and pray that each and every one of us has shifted our thinking to broaden our perspective and allow a deeper sense of wonder to move in our lives as we recognize and live our principle of oneness. I give thanks for this teaching. I give thanks for this space to come together in. I give thanks for the safety we are experiencing in this moment as we come together. I give thanks for all who are watching from home. And I give thanks for everyone in this planet as we walk this path and seek greater peace through wonder together. And so it is. Thank you, Mary Lynn. That was beautiful. I wonder at how people can make music so beautifully, because I tried taking piano lessons with her, and I just couldn't do it. Thank you, Mary Lynn. Beautiful, and I could hear Sergio's voice singing that from Christmas Eve we passed.
Mary Lynn's Carr was singing that.
Yes, it was. That was beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Isn't it amazing? This community is so amazing. Well, this month, in December, the children at Weed and Seed and Teen Connection are provided with new shoes and winter clothes, and so we are providing 10% to support them in this process. And I just know that it's appreciated. We've been given thanks by them before, and I continue to give thanks. And I just want us to recognize and hold the importance of what we do as a community and how we reach out with that tithe that we give in our local community. So please say after me, divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And so it is.
We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed.
We are so blessed, and I want to invite all of you to stay for our birthday celebration after this, and we will be signing cards, as Bob said, to send to people in the nursing homes, and we can, if you think of something positive to tell them, to share with them, to lift their hearts, feel free to do that. And I have a message here that I want to share with you from one of our founding mothers of this center, Lorna Harris. She said, "Sorry I will not be there this Sunday to help celebrate the center's 45th birthday. I'll be celebrating mine with friends and family." Some 46 years ago, a small group of us gathered with the idea of having a Church of Religious Science, as it was known then, in Las Cruces. Today is the manifestation of that idea. The church had many homes before settling in its current location and went through many ups and downs over the years, but all propelled it to where it stands in the Las Cruces community today. Who knows what is yet to be and what is still unfolding in our center? I do know that the Science of Mind philosophy pervades the very core of our spiritual home and will sustain it in its full future growth. Happy birthday, CSL, Lorna Harris. Isn't that nice? And her email has a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson: "That which dominates our imagination and our thoughts will determine our lives." And so it is. Let's sing our closing song, if you'd like to stand.